Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. Hopefully, you guys can hear me well. Um, so, we will be covering political singleness and lesbianism. Um, right? We're not going to be making fun of people necessarily. We are just going to be speaking about the current environment and particular content creators that are helping to bring about this different environment or the different mindset. Better yet, mindset is a better word for this. And more young women, right, are essentially advocating for women, in this case, black women, to be, um, I guess, single or same-sex loving, right? We see this reflected um, all across the interwebs, but in particular on YouTube, because that's what we really watch and listen to in this space. And yeah, so let's get to it. Um, I've covered Real Talk with Yanni speaking to this. Now we have Princella literally like saying the quiet part out loud, um, right? And it really is a temper tantrum. It's God, I want men this way, and if I can't have men this way, then I'd rather be single. There's nothing wrong with that. I'd rather be same sex. Okay, well, alrighty then. There's nothing wrong with that. And I'm gonna talk crap. Oh, all right. And I'm gonna try to hoard as much of the gains and boons and resources as much as humanly possible, while complaining that the men that I want to hoard the gains and boons and resources aren't providing it to me. Wait, what? Right? I want to rig the game in my favor and other black women's favor, and then complain that the black men aren't on our level. Because it's okay if the system props up the women, but the men got to get it out the mud. Alrighty then. Right? So, the ladies on the breakdown, right? The ladies on the breakdown were, essentially going over the Princella thing again. I do not blame. Look, that conversation was beautiful and it needed to be had by women to other women. What you got to see there, to all the brothers, I know we talked, the sisterhood, the sisterhood, the sisterhood. Well, what you saw with that and the beauty of it being women talking to another woman is that you got to see that even when women, black women, slightly critique or push back on their sisterhood, this is how those in the sisterhood respond. As you can still see, there are women in the ladies from the breakdowns comment section, right? Sister George and C Rose, in their comment section, still insulting their intelligence because they do not agree with Princella, right? Because they don't see being called a mammy as an insult, even though black women have remixed the original term of mammy, doing the bidding for white massa. By the way, that's still what y'all doing. And now essentially calling black women who love and care and defend black men mammies because now they're doing the bidding of black men. Dear black women, that's your goddamn job. Oops, goddamn, Mr. Z. You ain't supposed to tell black women that they gotta actually lift a finger. And plus, if you listen to black women, they taking all the heft on their shoulders, right? All the emotional labor. Oh, Z, how dare you tell black women that they gotta lift the damn finger to help to produce the same black men they want. How dare you, Z? Right? How dare you not just say abort black male babies and that'll be the best thing for black women? And a white supremacist America. Yeah. Huh. Where white men have a propensity to disappear black women that they're not happy with in the moment. And sometimes don't even get detained for it, let alone arrested for it, let alone charged for it, let alone thrown in prison or jail for it. That part. How dare you? See, how dare you? Right? Sexist monster, you. Anyway, so so the same-sex loving thing was always the end goal. We were always going to get there. It was always going to be that. This is radical feminism. This is why Mr. Z played clips from Angry Women, the documentary on BBC, over a year ago. It was 2 years ago now, right? That's what this was always about. Black women think they're saying something new, and pause for the cause right here. We're having this conversation right now about Larry Elder and about conservatism and black conservatives and the Republican Party and the Democratic Party and liberals and what have Biden and the Democrats done for black people. And there's an underlying narrative about knowing your history, right? Also an underlying narrative about knowing what someone means when they use particular words and not having to wait for a person to call you the N-word to know they're calling you the N-word, right? I'm tying that to the Princella situation, to Real Talk with Yanni, to Chrissy, by saying, I told y'all so. I'm just saying. First, my subscribers really didn't question whether I knew what I was talking about or not. So shout out to y'all and thank you for believing in me. But for anyone else who didn't, and especially for you ladies, who didn't know that we were going to end up here with it. First of all, you're not a student of history, clearly. Secondly, you're not politically astute, clearly, right? Thirdly, how loud do they got to get and spell it out for you? How loud does Kim Foster have to get? How loud does Chrissy have to get? How loud does Ebony K. Williams have to get? How loud does Yanni have to get? How loud does Paris Malone have to get? Does Lexus Exodus have to get? Does Mahogany Pink have to get? How loud do they have to get? Yes, I've seen the heavy-set black sister that recently became an attorney that y'all were asking if she's truly Mahogany Pink and she's in a same-sex loving relationship. And she does sound like Mahogany Pink. I wouldn't be surprised if that really was her. Yeah, the young lady on TikTok. Yeah, I seen her. Yeah, she do sound like Mahogany Pink. When I first heard her, I thought the same thing. Right? And if that's Mahogany Pink, I can see why you were railing against black men. And it don't got nothing. It's not your skin tone. I'll just say that. Y'all better stop. We be finding out how these people look half the time and be like, okay, yeah, now we know why you sound the way you sound. No wonder you don't got. Right? We were always going to end up here. To all you naive young black women, we were always going to end up here. I can't have black men the way I want them. White men ain't checking, they too damn racist. White women not checking, they too damn racist. Latina and Asian women ain't checking, they too damn racist. So let me do this same-sex loving thing with other black women. We were always going to end up here. Y'all are not students of history. Y'all think this is the first go-around. This ain't the first time. How you think so many of your old, black female feminists, so many of them were queer and queer pod gay, like Bell Hooks called herself. Why do you think they were that? Because they did exactly what Mr. Z said. They were a-holes to working class men. Some of them elevated to maybe being taken marginally serious by ballerific black dudes. They were a-holes to those men. It didn't work. They tried white men. It didn't work. Then they started doing the same-sex loving thing. And because white women are just as racist as white men, guess what that means? Can't make it work with white women. Asian women, too busy chasing after white men. Try again. Latina women, you think black men are colorist. So guess what? That means black women in relationship with other black women, or maybe single. And there we go with Mr. Z said, politically single and political lesbianism, political singleness and political lesbianism. Nothing to see here. It's not new, black women. You can take your temperature tantrum and shove it. Only people that marginally care are black. No one else cares unless they're trying to make money off of you. And rage that comes from it to benefit them. Shout out to the Democratic Party. Or they're going to completely ignore you. Shout out to the Republican Party. And use a random black woman who actually doesn't represent most of what your political philosophy is to ignore you and the rest of your political philosophy. Shout out to right? Embarrassing. So angry, so rageful, so resentful at black men that for horrible real life history can use that to garner sympathy, weaponize the sympathy against black men while keeping you perpetually single or what, in same-sex loving relationships? What you think Priscilla's saying that's new? She ain't saying nothing new. I think that we have too many men, and it's too many. We're giving up the vagina to black men too easily, to men too easily. Rewind 50 years ago, they were saying the same thing. And all those women ain't end up with white dudes or Latino dudes or Asian dudes. They got piped by them though, goddamn. Princella's not saying anything new. Right? Standard issue talk right here. So we were always going to end up in this place. As I said before, right? Political lesbianism, political singleness, we were always going to end up in this place. That's what Yanni's on right now. Decenter men. I agree with the ladies on the breakdown. You ladies should be afraid of the decenter men movement. Because there's only two sexes on this planet. And if you decenter in men, guess what? You're centering women. Have fun with how that works out for you sexually. Have fun how that works out with you and your familial situation. While we got Ed Blum running around here targeting anything that benefits black people, black women. Have fun with that. Keep thinking you don't need a man and don't need a nuclear family with a man, a black man. Right? As we walk into the fourth industrial revolution, right? So yeah, we have these weirdos. You have Princella, who literally is essentially admits to being on some pimp thing with black women, wants to, replace male pimps with her as a female pimp. What? Right? This should be fun. It's going to be fun to watch this train wreck. Right? It's going to be fun to watch this train wreck. Right? If you're engaging in negative liberty as a woman, you can't expect men not to do the same. Right? If you want no obligations, no requirements on yourself, no rules and regulations that you have to adhere to or that other black women have to adhere to, then guess what that means for the men? We don't create a system where, de jure, we don't create a system where certain people are free and certain people are not. The last time we had to fight a war about that is called a civil war. So, ladies, the negative liberty that you get to practice, guess what? The men get to practice it also. You know what that means for your society? What society? You know what that means for your community? What community? Also, if you engage in negative liberty as a woman, then you still are up to ridicule by other women. And that's much of what was going on the breakdown. This queen hyena thing, we've seen that for decades in the black community. Dear black women, what has it garnered you? But a couple of degrees, and for a handful of you, maybe some positions as celebrities, a few politicians. What else? Fine, you're not subject to black men's failed patriarchy. The masses of you still don't have anything. Like, for real. That's not even up for speculation. Right? Decentering men is about not being kind to men, being mean to men, being antagonistic to men, being insulting to men, etc. That's what decenter men is truly about. It's not about just the word decenter, right? Not making the world about, acquiring a romantic relationship. It sounds that simple. It's not. Listen to the people that advocate, right? Listen to Real Talk when Yanni speak. Listen to her sneering at the camera. Listen to her say, well, I want to be a kept woman of leisure. That's what it's about. Decenter men. If I can't have that from a Negro, then decenter her. It's a temper tantrum, an adult temper tantrum. Right? These are adult temper tantrums. That's what decenter men is truly about. Right? Like I said, it's about being antagonistic to men, being mean to men. That's where you get Kim Foster from. That's where you get Chrissy from. That's where you get Pierce Malone dancing on anything that happens to a black man, whether warranted or not. If he's in harm's way, oh, it's beautiful. She's dancing. Dancing and making snarky comments, sounding like a whole neo-Nazi. While she's married to a black man. Yes, he's not black American, but she's married to a black man. Decentering men is not just simply the words decentering men. It truly is about being antagonistic to men, being insulting to men, being combative to heterosexual men. That's what it's really about. Right? It's about arguing and insulting and demeaning, right? And being antagonistic to black women who speak about black men in a way that's not just saying, oh yeah, they're a nuisance. Oh, I gotta deal with him. Right? A black woman that speaks about black men in a loving way, you're not decentering men. you're subject to ridicule by these decenter men, black women, and they will start telling you about everything this man is going to do. He's going to cheat on you. He's going to cheat on you with your best friend. He's going to maybe DV. He's going to ghost you. He's going to make you feel small. He's going to all this projection. That's what decentering men is really about. This is, and excuse my language, this is homies over hoes. This is women's version of homies over hoes. This is black women's version of homies over hoes, right? This is what homies over hoes look like painted black women, right? This is what it looked like. Kim Foster, anyone? For those of you that remember the clip of her saying she don't care what type of romantic situation she's in, it's black women over everything. I hope her man heard that, right? I hope her man heard that, right? Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. You know, there's a lot of conversation also about setting boundaries. Is it really about setting boundaries, or is it about being an asshole? Is it about being mean when you say no? Right? Is it about nuclear rejection? Right? Are you really just trying to set boundaries, quote unquote, set boundaries? Or are you just trying to be mean and snarky and an a-hole, right? And a black Karen? Because let's be very clear, many black women, their biggest issue with black men is that black men haven't put them in a position to be a black Karen. Right? Y'all give Mr. Z 1 second. We have a technical difficulties. Give Mr. Z 1 second, everyone. Hopefully you guys can hear me now. Okay, yeah. But yeah, yeah. That's what this is about. Right? So I'll reiterate, we were always gonna get here. It was always about this, you know, radical feminists, homies over hoes, right? Same sex loving thing. So Dr. Umar Johnson can stop, right? FD Signifier can stop. This is what the women were always going to get to, right? This is what the women were always going to get to. You listen to Princella and it's just horror story after horror story. Am I going to say all of them are exaggerated or a lie? Maybe not. Interesting conclusion, though. We need to have a dearth of men and essentially create a hyena cackle. Turn over the male pimp for the female pimp, the madam, essentially. Right? And Samuel Norton says, it's insane what BWE, Black Women Empowerment, continues to do and produce. Right? Y'all give me a second. But yeah. So, yeah. This is nothing new. Train tracks, train tracks, train tracks. Right? And he goes on to say, and yes, it is a cult. Saying the Divine Mother killed Kobe and Kevin Samuels, trying to cast spells on each other, they're crazy. Brother, some of them are crazy. Some of them are crazy. Right? And can you guys hear me? Can everyone hear me? Let me get a 1 in the chat if you guys can hear me. Right? But yeah, some of them may be off their rocker, excuse me. All right, thank you, everyone. Some of them are doing this because they're having issues with black men. So all black women got to have issues with black men. You see it with Princella, you see it with other black women, you see it when you read through their comments, when you're listening to them on their pages. None of you better be having a great relationship with no black man. Oh, none of you ladies better be having a great, and you better don't speak positively about him in the presence of other black women. Imagine living in a world where a black woman who has a great relationship with her black man, with her black husband, with her black boyfriend, who has a great relationship with her black father, can't speak positively about them in the presence of other black women. That's the world we live in. Because other black women are going to tell you, don't hold your breath. You better walk around on eggshells. The next shoe is going to drop. Wait, you're not skeptical of black men? Right? Who encourage you to be adversarial towards black men. We live in a world, in an environment where black women encourage other black women to be adversarial to black men. Leave them nothing, right? Make their life difficult, make their life hard, because they make our life hard because they keep on marrying they're marrying white women. Whenever they get money, they marry white women and exoticals and Latinas. Y'all are some of the most bitter, angry group of people ever. Right? Chrissy can't listen to a story without switching it into a colorism story. At all. It's not possible. You see how black men were getting at Ebony K. Williams? Well, that's because that's their preference. Yawn. Right? What they said in Goodfellas? See the insult in a rose? You give the person a rose, they'll see an insult in that. Right? Khadijah literally told you as black men, go be fruity in the booty. Trying to be funny, not being funny, not joking, but framing it as a joke. Right? Seriously. Real Talk with Yanni told you, what's the incentive if I'm not going to be a black woman pretty much living in the lap of luxury, a kept woman of leisure, her literal words. If I can't be a kept woman of leisure, I'm already providing the luxurious leisurely life to myself. If I can't meet a man that's going to continue that for me, then what's the point? Nothing wrong with that mindset. Stay single then. Go date out. You're in Houston, Texas. Date out. Have fun with your mixed babies and everything. Right? Paris Milan once again can't help but dance on any black man that finds himself in harm's way grave. Chrissy turns anything into a colorist conversation. Right? Real talk when Yanni pretty much told you baller dudes only need apply. Kim Foster told you homies over hoes. And just to be clear, she means black men as being the hoes. This is political singleness and political lesbianism. This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. And they mean what they say. Right? I'm covering this today so that we can see this is radical feminism. This is radical feminism. This is what it is. And because most black people, most black women don't know their history, they think they're saying something new. They think they're saying something new. They think they're advocating for something new. No, you're not. And your number one enemy isn't the black man. It's that same white man you worshiping. Look at Ed Blum. Black men have been part of the black manosphere for a decade. Let's say a decade. Let's just say a decade. And we've critiqued black women. We've critiqued some of their actions, their behavior, the system that enables them, etc., etc. What we should do, and the first thing black men did was try to advocate for themselves. Not go after black women, not go after the set-asides for black women. You don't see us calling into the White House and why you have this office for girls and women. Black men are not doing that. Black men didn't go after any money given to any, given to any politician or anything like, excuse me, any politician that put any money set aside for black women. Black men didn't do that, right? You know who did? White man, Ed Blum. And for black women that claim to care about black women who claim to care about black women. Anyone know if Kim Foster covered Ed Blum yet? And what he's not just going after affirmative action, but now him going after any set-asides for black women? Did Chrissy cover it? Because that's going to affect dark-skinned black women. Did she cover it? Did Yanni cover it? Has Princella covered it? Y'all claim to care about black women. Right? Did Paris Milan cover it? You claim to care about black women. All these people who claim to care about black women are not covering this existential crisis of this white man coming after. Understand what we're saying. These are organizations that are not even government. What he wants to go after private businesses, banks and the like, who are setting aside millions, if not billions of dollars to put black women in position. Black men are not doing that. Black men are not going after these businesses, these banks. We're critiquing it. We're telling you how this is going to look for the black community in the long run. But the white man's going after it. And black women who claim to care about other black women are mum's the word. Can't go after white daddy, right? Black women who defend and speak positively about black men are the mammies, not you. Not you who's quiet about a white man going after things that would benefit other black women. Right? Are we sure that decenter men isn't just decenter black men? Are we sure that's not what it is? Right? Are we sure? And KW Don says, and thank you for the super chat. With all due respect, Yanni and the like do not qualify or deserve top tier black men. I'm not saying that they do. I'm not saying that they do. Right? What I am saying is for people that claim to care, and thank you for the super chat, KW Don. For people that claim to care about black women, they're not speaking about these things that affect black women. Why? Because black men's hands is not in it. Right? See, if you could link Clarence Thomas to this somehow, they would have been all over it. Right? If you could link some attorney, probably conservative black attorney to this somehow, they would have been all over it. Some type of political activist group whose figurehead was a black man or whose face was a black man, or they would have been all over it. But because they probably peeked in and saw nothing but white dudes, they don't have anything to say. All of these people with tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of subscribers have nothing to say. Right? And they claim to care about black men. So this really is about political singleness and political lesbianism in relationship to black men. Right? In relationship to black men, if you can't be, because we got to hit him with the black tax, right? He's not a white man. So if he's not a baller as a black man, why not be single? Why not be same sex loving? Right? Right? And Samuel Norton says there was a news story about a white Kansas City detective who was SAing black women. The full dual suspects were quiet. The only person who reported it was Roland Martin. I think you're talking about the Hopper, the white Asian mixed dude that was a police officer, but that was in Kansas. That was actually Oklahoma, if I'm not mistaken. The one I'm talking about. Right? His face is in my head right now, but I can't remember his name. Right? It's in my head right now. Let me see if I can remember his name. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Yep, there we go. Daniel Holzclaw. That's who I was speaking about. Right. But I don't know if that's who you're speaking about, Samuel. Right. Either way, you didn't even see talking about that story. Black men spoke about that story. Did black women? Right. Did black women? See, it's all fun and games until the white man has so much power, or he perceives himself as having so much power that he could do what he want to do with black women. See, it's all fun and games making fun of and insulting black men about not having power and patriarchy, and y'all can't maintain a patriarchy, and y'all don't have no patriarchy until these dudes come in the room. Dude, not even fully white, had a whole white girlfriend, fiance, if I'm not mistaken. Looked like one of those fit, not bodybuilder types, but one of those fit little, you know, white women, and yet going out to SA black women. Right. Going out to SA black women. And we watch as these particular people who claim they care about black women say nothing. Right. Once again, political singleness and lesbianism. Decenter men. Right. This really is about same-sex loving relationships. This is really about black women's version of homies over hoes. The whole talk about setting boundaries is about being an a-hole and being mean to black men. The whole thing about decentering black men is about being antagonistic to black men and being insulting to black men and being insulting to black women who care about black men. And Samuel Norton says Roger Golubsky is the name. What's the name? Okay, I'm gonna look that up. Right. Right. Oh boy, it's already happening. And Namer says, how long before we see black women looking like Lil Snoop in mass? If y'all don't know who Lil Snoop is, I think Namer's referring to the light skinned sister that's, lives the alternative lifestyle, and she looked like a. I ain't even gonna do it. Too easy. I ain't even gonna do it. Let's just say she lives an alternative lifestyle and she has a butch appearance. We'll say that. We'll say that, right? And let's just say, the petite, or smaller or less shapely, young Ma, Lil Snoop looking, light skinned black women, they already exist all across the country. Yeah, she was in The Wire. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They already exist all across the country. They look like little Latino boys. Goddamn, Mr. Z. I couldn't help it. It's funny because it's true. Right? That little Snoop, young MA looking look, that's common in the hood. When you find a little light skinned black woman that, live the alternative lifestyle, and she errs on the side of, the more masculine looking. That's nothing, right? That's common in the hood. You got the Lil Wayne looking ones. You got the Manny Fresh looking ones. That's more heavy set, and they got their little fro on. Tell me y'all ain't see them because they're all over South Florida. The Lil Wayne looking ones, the Manny Fresh looking ones, the Young Thug looking ones, and the Young Ma and Lil Snoop looking ones, all over the hood, right? What homegirl said, "Pop, hold it down." I'm legally blind, right? That's a Manny Fresh looking one. Sorry, Manny Fresh, to insult you with the looks. Ugh. Right? But we're not getting here in any type of supposed organic way, right? We're getting here from literally a temper tantrum. And this is why I bring up Dr. Umar Johnson. I watched a Dr. Umar Johnson lecture. And y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Um, I watched a Dr. Umar Johnson lecture maybe 8, 9 years ago, maybe at this point, 7, 8, 9 years ago. And at the end of his lecture, he had people standing up in the audience, right? And he was on stage, so this was like in a hall or something like that. And he was on stage, and a young lady stood up, and she verbatim said, "I wasn't born same-sex loving." Same-sex loving wasn't the word she used. She used gay, but I wasn't born gay. I came to this place because black men are horrible in this way, and black men are horrible in that way, and black men are horrible in this way. And she admitted and said, I made a very clear choice to engage in same-sex loving relationships. Right? Oh, Toya, you added on to the joke, Toya. Winnie the Pooh catching strays. These Winnie the Pooh built sisters, yeah? And they tell you they same-sex loving, they don't even gotta tell you. And you're like, yeah, I can see why. Yeah. Right? Nothing special here. Nothing spectacular here. Standard issue stuff over here. Right? I'm pretty sure Xi Jinping would have something to say about that Winnie the Pooh joke, by the way. If y'all don't know, Xi Jinping banned the Winnie the Pooh imagery in China. I think it's still banned. I know it's banned for a little while because that was the Chinese citizens' way of making fun of Xi Jinping. They said he looked like Winnie the Pooh. If y'all don't know, just random information. Right? So I just wanted to come to you guys today to kind of respond. I actually have been, wanting to respond to this political lesbianism and singleness. There's nothing to see here, nothing new or spectacular. I know black women think they're doing something new. I know it's, no. Calling other black women mammies because they're in a relationship with black men. They defend black men. They love black men. They don't want to date outside of the black race. Right? Now you got Princella saying it straight up. Princella said it straight up. Right? So you go from Real Talk with Yanni kind of lamenting her single life, right? And being in her luxury apartment by herself, her words. Yanni essentially mirroring the same thing, But adding on to that, I want to be a kept woman of leisure, right? What's the incentive? Decenter men. And now Princella said, forget it. I'll go straight there with it. We need to be pretty much in a lesbian covenant amongst ourselves, right? Princella said, screw that. Let's just say what it is, right? You are nothing but a tool, and what we should do with you is just, and she's saying it, just have our little sexual fun with you, get a kid from you, and come back over here to the cackle and raise our children over here. Literally the hive model, like nameless, pathetic as hell. Literally the hive model. They're literally outright advocating for the hive model now. And that wasn't even a good year. That wasn't no time after Nameless brought the hive model to us. Nameless just brought the hive model to us a few months ago. They're straight up saying it. By the way, they were already practicing it. Now they're just saying it. Our mother's generation was already practicing that. Extras were already practicing that. Even though the vast majority of them, for what we know, weren't same-sex loving, but they were already practicing the hive model. Doing what they want to do with whatever type of man they want to do it with. Some of them occasionally engaging in same-sex loving relationships. All of that. Right? Having sex with their white coworkers, their Latino coworkers, their black coworkers, the Negroes in the hood, some of the sisters in the hood, the odd Asian or Latina they could get a hold of, or white woman they could get a hold of. Black women are already doing what you saying, Princella. They've been doing it. Nothing new here. Right? And y'all talk amongst yourselves. Y'all give Mr. Z 1 minute. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. And we're back. We're back. And Trell Bentley says, experimenting in college. Yes, those ladies are doing that definitely. And got the nerve to say black men are on the DL. Hysterical. right? Emerald Ed says what Michael Ross said, and the one I work with hates men yet has 3 children. Yet has, I think, 3 children. Wow. Nothing new there. Nothing new there. That's standard operating procedure, right? And yes, we all grew up in the hood where you see, butch, same-sex loving black women walking around the hood, got 2, 3 kids, 4 kids, and can't stand black men. And the black left act like that's not a thing. Because it's about love. She loves other women. What's wrong with love? Yeah, that's what it is. It's not her hatred of black men because of some type of experience she had. It's her love of other black women. Yeah, that's why she's over there doing that and engaging in that type of activity. And not just engaging in the activity. Mr. Z doesn't care. Most black men don't care. Not just engaging in the activity, spewing venom about black men. More importantly, it's not the act. It's the behavior. It's the rhetoric, right? You see this all across the hood. And but once again, these are the same people that use all of that homophobic rhetoric against black men as a slur and an insult. The black left refuse to deal with it when it's coming from the mouth of black women, right? Refuse to deal with it when it's coming out the mouth of black women. These are the people that the black community either plays down, act like doesn't exist, gives cover to, right? Once again, y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat, right? And this does not benefit anyone in the black community. It doesn't benefit black men, that's for sure. Doesn't even benefit black women. Definitely doesn't benefit black children. Essentially, we've reached the market cap of black people thinking family is negotiable in this society, in this environment. And the fourth industrial revolution is going to eat you up and spit you out. The black women that think they could play this game on easy mode with other black women are going to find themselves in the permanent underclass. And unfortunately, screw them, it's not about them. Their children, unfortunately, are going to be born into a permanent underclass position. Right? You will be forever seen as the concubine class. And it won't be black men to relegate you into that position. It will be the same white men you worship. You're demanding of black men to get down with the matriarchy if you want to be kind, gynocracy if you want to be accurate, while still playing a patriarchal role is much of the reason why you're going to get there, because any aware black man will not sign up for that. So have fun with that. Once again, demanding that black men play their patriarchal role in a matriarchy if we're kind, or gynocracy if we're accurate. Shout out to you, FD Signifier. Shout out to you, Dr. Umar Johnson. Remember, when those brothers on Bernard Riley, especially when BGS called a black community a matriarchy, FD Signifier did not disagree. He had and it's the same thing. It literally is the video that BGS has played multiple times, where it's in black and white, and the light-skinned young lady essentially said, Yeah. Okay. So what's wrong with a black matriarchy? Why can't we run things? 50 years later, Donovan said it on the grapevine. By the way, I went on the grapevine's page. They deleted all of their old stuff. Anybody know different? Please tell me. Maybe I'm going to the wrong place. But I see it's their channel, but they deleted all of their old stuff. Right? But Donovan said it on the grapevine. The black community is a matriarchy. The issue is that they have is getting black men to be down with the matriarchy. Have fun with that. The light skinned lady said it back in the what, early 70s? Somewhere in the 70s. Princella's pretty much trying to advocate it right now. Right? BGS has spoken to it. FD Signifier pretty much just admitted to it. And these people want us to be in a community where you're nothing but a worker bee. Right? Y'all give me 1 second. Right? Where you're nothing but a worker bee. They want you to be in a community where you're nothing but a worker bee. And the black women find joy and glee in being insulting and demeaning and condescending as much as humanly possible to you as a black man. And you're supposed to eat that. Right? Princella, Kim Foster, Real Talk with Yanni, Ebony K. Williams, Chrissy, Paris Malone, Lexus Exodus, Mahogany Pink, Divested Black Woman, Divested Zealot, name them, hashtag Black Woman, right? Shira 7, the Alejo chick, Jessie Wu, name them, right? T Noir, all of these women, Khadijah, hmm. We speak as if women don't seek power in Western society. That's not their goal. That's not their aim. That they don't sit back and watch as men gallivant around as what we see as stereotypical women behavior. And women don't sit back in awe at their power, at manipulating the environment and making the environment for heterosexual men so harsh that there are men that would rather act and portray themselves as women because they see that as the road that's a bit less adversarial. Right? Black women treating men like they're domesticating dogs. Hmm. And thank you for the super chat, Emerald Edge. And Emerald Edge says, Mr. Z going deep in on this topic. Thank you. Thank you, brother. Thank you. All right. Political lesbianism, political singleness. you know. And that is something that we will see the undoing of many of us in the black community, namely black women in this case, right? And on that note, everyone, this is You Got a Life to Go Live. We'll pause right here. Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way out. Yeah, we'll pause right here. Love, peace, and peace. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content, for the love of God. So y'all don't sound like these people. Like it. So y'all don't sound like Princella. That lady is truly broken, rageful, resentful, and she wants to bring other Black women with her to the edge of hell. To hell, not even to the edge of hell. To hell. As I said before, these are the type of people that will walk you off the edge of the cliff, not fall off the edge of the cliff with you, but Princella definitely fell off the edge of the cliff, and they will pick your pocket right before you fall off, right? So y'all be mindful of that, ladies. And on that note, we will truly pause right here. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Mr. Z out.